fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty hi-yo silver, the Lone Ranger. With his faithful Indian companion Tonto, the daring and resourceful masked rider of the plains led the fight for law and order in the early western United States. Nowhere in the pages of history can one find a greater champion of justice. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. From out of the past come the thundering hoofbeats of the great horse Silver. The Lone Ranger rides again.
Come on, Silver. Let's go, big fella. I'll Silver. Aye!
People who wish to go to the frontier town of Laramie traveled by train as far as Larksville and by stagecoach the remainder of the distance. There were 3 such people, 2 men and a woman, eating breakfast in the Larksville Cafe. From their table at the front of the crowded room, they could look through the window at the Butterfield station across the street. They were about half through with the meal when a tall, thin man dressed in the height of fashion approached the table and said,
"Pardon me. I'm informed that we're to be traveling companions on the stage to Laramie."
Oh, you're going with us?
"Yes. My name is Nixon."
I'm Jim Calhoun. The lady is Mrs. Forsyth, and this gentleman is the Reverend Thomas.
How do you do, Mr. Thomas?
Well, please sit down, Mr. Nixon.
Thank you.
At a corner table near the rear wall, 2 hard-faced men lingered over coffee. They were silent for some time. Then one of them said,
"Hey, Pete, Nixon has just given me the nod. That means he was right about Calhoun being on the stage to Laramie.
You suppose he's right about Calhoun being a government agent who's trying to smash our gang?
I've never known Nixon to be wrong."
Then we're to go ahead with our plans?
"Yeah, Pete. Say, the stage guard and driver just came in. They're sitting at the counter."
The guard and driver ate heartily without the slightest suspicion of the trouble that lay ahead. While at the table near the window, Nixon talked pleasantly, giving no hint that he planned to murder his 3 companions.
And as soon as we board the stage, it's best to draw the curtains over the windows. That will keep out the hot sun and much of the dust.
Oh, Mr. Nixon, we're so fortunate in having a man who knows how to make travel more pleasant.
The stagecoach is ready. All aboard for Laramie.
We're ready.
As Nixon left the cafe behind the other passengers, he glanced back. He knew his plans were being carried out when he saw Jake and Pete approach the guard and driver at the counter.
"Hey, are you 2 the guard and driver of the stage?"
Yeah, why?
"We have something to show you.
Sorry, stranger, but the passengers are boarding the stage and we gotta go.
Well, this is a matter of life and death.
Yeah? What do you want to show us?
We'll go into the back room. Someone might be looking this way, and I don't want anyone to see it."
It'll only take a minute.
Well, all right, if it's as important as you say. Come on, shotgun.
All right. Is anyone watching us, Jake?
No one's looking this way. Well, here we are. What in, gents?
Well, what are you going to show us?
This ain't.
Jake and Pete drew and swung their guns so fast that neither the guard nor driver had a chance to dodge or cry out. Both were knocked unconscious.
They'll stay that way for a while. Let's go.
When the guard and driver regained consciousness, they hurried across the street, learned that the stagecoach was gone, and raged at the stablemen.
Dad Rabbit, couldn't you see who was picking up the reins?
Well, I didn't notice. I figured it was you.
Yeah, you didn't notice. A fine thing.
Which way did the stage go? West, of course.
Well, get us a couple of saddle horses and we'll go after it.
Later that morning, the Lone Ranger and Tonto were riding eastward on the road to Larksville and watching for the westbound stage. There were open plains south of the trail, while to the north lay arid badlands and the desolate Hard Rock Mountains. Presently, the masked man and his Indian friend reached the top of a small hill and saw two horsemen approaching at top speed.
Rein in, Tonto.
Oh, fella.
Those men are riding mighty fast.
We stay here?
Yes, there's no use trying to avoid them. They've already seen us.
When the approaching horsemen, who were the guard and driver of the stolen stagecoach, were near enough to see the Lone Ranger's mask, they drew their guns and shouted.
Hold your hands still.
We got you covered.
Hey, mask.
A couple of outlaws. Don't reach for your guns.
This mask doesn't mean I'm an outlaw.
We don't care what you are. All we want is information. You see the westbound stage?
No,
How long you been on the road?
since daybreak.
You haven't seen the stage?
No.
Heavy stage leave tracks on road. There are no tracks here. That proves stage not come this way.
Yeah, the engine's right. We never thought of looking for tracks. We just took it for granted the stage came this way.
Why are you looking for it?
I'm supposed to be driving it.
Yeah, and I'm supposed to be the guard.
What happened to the stage?
Well, a couple of crooks stole it and drove it away with all four of the passengers.
Where, in Larksville?
Yes.
Was one of the passengers named Jim Calhoun?
Well, we didn't hear the names of the passengers. We saw them sitting in the cafe,
Did you
but...
see a short, stocky man with a square chin and black hair?
Yeah.
Jim Calhoun, Kimasabi.
How was the stagecoach stolen?
Now, look, we've got no time to talk.
Take the time.
Mister, don't tell us what to do. We're the ones holding the guns.
Calhoun is a friend of ours. We expected to meet him. As for you being the ones to hold guns, going to shoot?
Great Scott.
Now we're all holding guns. That puts us on an equal footing.
I never saw anyone draw as fast as you did.
There's no need for any of us to hold guns. Otto and I are as eager to find the stage as you are. How about holstering the weapons?
Suits me.
Good. Now, how was the stagecoach stolen?
Tell him.
Well, Shotgun and I were sitting at the counter in the cafe.
As briefly as possible, the driver told how he and the guard had been knocked out by strangers.
So when we regained consciousness and found the stagecoach gone, we borrowed horses and set out to overtake it.
Was there anything of value on the stage?
No, and I can't figure why anyone would steal it.
Oh, where they went with it.
There's a branch from the road a few miles this side of Larksville.
That's the old trail to Laramie. It runs north of the Badlands.
Yeah, it's bad country along that trail. We had lots of stick-ups when we used to run the stages on it.
Hasn't been used since this road was built over 10 years ago.
The man who stole the stagecoach must be using it.
Hey, by thunder, I'll bet you're right. There's nowhere else they could have gone.
With all the turns and deep mud on that road, the stage will move mighty slow.
Yeah, we'll catch up.
Just a minute. You described Jim Calhoun. Did you see the other passengers?
Yes, but...
What did they look like?
Well, mister, we've already lost a lot of time.
This is important. Please describe them.
Well, there was a middle-aged lady and a small gray-haired gent and a tall, thin man.
Tall and thin? Was he well-dressed?
Yeah, he was mighty slick-looking. Looked like a gambler.
Did he have a black mustache?
Yes. Is he another friend of yours?
No. His name is Nixon. He's a killer and the leader of a gang.
Yeah?
Tonto, if we ride north across the Badlands, we may be able to intercept the stage.
The polecats who slugged us might have been part of the gang.
Yes.
The rest of the gang may be hiding in the Badlands near the old trail.
That's right. Tonto, we'll ride north across the Badlands and try to intercept the stage.
If we're going to meet a gang, we better go back to Larksville for help.
You and the guard do what you want. We're crossing the Badlands. Come on, Silver!
Let's go.
On the old trail, weeds and mud made the progress of the stagecoach slow. Inside the coach were the curtains drawn to shut out the hot sun. The passengers dozed fitfully throughout the morning. All but Nixon were unaware of the change en route. At noon, Jim Calhoun and Nixon were apparently asleep, while facing them on the opposite seat, Mrs. Forsythe and the small man named Thomas were talking.
Mr. Thomas, there's something wrong.
Wrong?
Yes. According to my sister, those Hard Rock Mountains should be north of the road. We're going west, aren't we?
Wait. I'll open this curtain some more. Yes. The mountains are south of here.
Then something is wrong. We're on the wrong road. We'd better waken Mr. Calhoun and Mr. Nixon.
I'm awake.
Oh, Mr. Calhoun, if we were on the road to Laramie, the mountains would be...
I heard what you said, Mrs. Forsythe.
Perhaps it is time for me to explain.
Oh, Mr. Nixon, I thought you were asleep.
No, I've just been sitting here with my eyes closed.
What is there for you to explain, Nixon?
There are two trails to Laramie. The new one south of the Badlands and the old one north of the Badlands. We're traveling on the old trail. You see, I learned that a certain masked man would be waiting to meet the stage on the south road.
A masked man?
The regular Butterfield guard and driver were detained in Larksville and replaced by two members of my organization.
What organization?
I'll answer your question, Mr. Thomas, because all of you will have to know the truth sooner or later. You may as well have the facts right now. I am the leader of a gang of mail thieves.
What?
The curtain falls on the first act of our Lone Ranger adventure. Before the next exciting scenes, please permit us to pause for just a few moments. Now to continue.
As soon as Nixon made the startling announcement that he was the leader of a gang of mail thieves, he drew a gun and leveled it at the other occupants of the stage.
Sit still.
A gun?
A snake gun.
Don't shoot. Calhoun, there's no use trying to reach your gun. While all of you were dozing, I took it from your shoulder holster and threw it out the window.
Oh.
Also, I made sure Thomas was unarmed.
I never carry a gun.
Move to the other seat, Calhoun. I want all three of you facing me. It will be easier to watch you. Go on, move over.
Very well.
Remember, Calhoun, the guard and driver are working for me.
I'll not forget that.
They're heavily armed, and they'd just as soon kill you as anyone else, even though you are a federal agent.
Federal agent?
Yes, Calhoun is an undercover man. He came west hoping to capture a gang of men who have been robbing the mail trains. Isn't that true, Calhoun?
You're doing the talking.
I'll continue. You were going to meet a man who could name the leader of the gang and lead you to the hideout.
You're well informed.
The man you expected to meet wears a mask, and he's known as the Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger knows about you,
The
Nixon.
Lone Ranger? I've made plans to dispose of him. He will be dead by sunset.
Get up! Kill him!
In the meantime, the Lone Ranger and Tonto rode north across the Badlands. After hours of travel through dangerous mountains and rock-strewn valleys, they reached the Old North Trail.
Oh, fella.
They examined the muddy road.
Me not see tracks, Kimasabi.
Stagecoach hasn't reached this point.
We wait here for it?
No, Tonto. We'll ride east to meet it. Come on, Silver.
Come up, Scout.
Some distance ahead of the masked man and his Indian friend, 3 members of the Nixon gang were waiting in the concealment of big boulders at one side of the trail. A scar-faced man looked at his watch.
Stage should be here.
It's probably slowed by the mud.
Sure be glad when this job's finished. What's the matter, Lefty? Afraid of meeting one lone federal man?
I'm thinking about one Lone Ranger, his Indian pal. Nixon seemed mighty sure we'd get him.
Well, he figured this way. The Lone Ranger will wait for the stage on the South Trail. When it doesn't show up, he'll ride towards Larksville to see what's happened to it. He'll find that the tracks of the stage branch off to the old trail, and he'll follow them.
Scar. I think I hear hoofbeats.
Yeah, I hear. Hey, boys. It's an Injun and a masked man.
Masked? And he's riding a white horse.
Yeah. He must be the Lone Ranger. Get your guns ready.
Yeah.
We'll capture him and the redskin and hold him till Nixon arrives.
Almost here.
Get set. Now! Rein in! You're covered!
Reach for guns and we'll shoot.
Both of you dismount slow and keep your hands away from those guns.
Do as he says, Tonto.
The Lone Ranger glanced at Tonto, whose horse was halted behind Silver, then dismounted slowly while he watched the 3 men standing on the road a few feet ahead of the big white stallion.
Both of you keep your hands at shoulder level. You, Injun, step forward and stand beside your pal where we can keep close watch on you. Lower one hand slow, unbuckle your gun belt, and let it drop to the ground beside your horse.
Very well.
Hey, you too, Injun, drop your gun belt. That's it. Now move to the side. Pick him up, Lefty.
Right.
When Lefty stepped forward and bent to pick up the gun belts, only 2 men covered the Lone Ranger and Tonto. Suddenly, the masked man shouted,
"At them, Silver!"
As Silver charged forward, the gunman dodged aside, and while they were off balance, the Lone Ranger leaped forward and drove a fist to Scar's chin. As Scar went down, the other outlaw fired wildly. Before he could fire again, the masked man seized his gun arm, jabbed him in the stomach, then brought an uppercut to his chin. The outlaw dropped unconscious. In the meantime, Tonto had disposed of the other outlaw.
Good work, Kimasabi.
What about Lefty?
Me hit him plenty hard. Him unconscious. Here your gun belt.
Oh, thanks, Tonto.
Scar waking up.
Good, I want to talk to him.
Me tie crook.
No, not now. Just take their guns and watch them. We'll tie them after I finish with this one. Get up, Scar.
You that horse.
I'll help you to your feet.
No, don't hit me again.
That depends on you. Tell me Nixon's plans.
I'm no squealer.
No!
Oh, you...
Ready to talk?
Oh, my head, it's spinning.
That's just the beginning.
No, wait, don't hit me again. I'll talk. I might as well. If I don't, the others will. Nixon told us to wait here with extra horses. He and the other 2 of the gang are coming on the stagecoach. Inside the stagecoach, Nixon relaxed as he held his gun on the passengers who occupied the facing seat. Mrs. Forsythe and Thomas trembled in fear, but Jim Calhoun sat tense, watching for the chance to overpower the outlaw leader.
I know what you're thinking, Calhoun, but don't try a sudden move. I'll shoot, and a derringer is deadly at close range.
Why don't you kill me and get it over with?
I want you alive when we join my men. I'm sure you can tell me a great deal that will be of help in making my future plans.
You and your gang can't make me talk.
Oh, I dare say you could endure torture. But how long can you keep silent and watch these people suffer?
You mean us?
Yes.
Heaven help us.
Courage, Mrs. Forsythe. Courage.
Hey, boss, this is the place.
At last. Jake, you and Pete come here. You 3 sit still until the door is opened.
That's where you meet the rest of your gang?
Yes?
Mr. Nixon, I have money. I'll give it all to you if you'll just let us go.
I intend to have your money.
Hi, boss.
Hey, you're holding a gun on the passenger.
Yes, I've told them everything. You 2 cover them while they get out.
Come on, the lady first. Step lively.
All right.
I'll stay here until they're all out.
Stand over there, lady.
Here.
Get out, Thomas.
Yes.
You boys see anything of Scar and the others?
No, but you told him to stay out of sight behind the big boulders.
The fool should know enough to come out now that we're here. Go on, Calhoun, get out. And remember, I'm holding a gun on your back.
I'll remember.
Stand here, Calhoun, beside the others.
All right.
Watch him while I get out.
Yeah.
As Nixon appeared in the doorway of the stage, a gun barked.
Oh, my hand!
As Nixon's gun flew out of his hand from the impact of a bullet, the Lone Ranger and Tonto leaped from behind a rock.
Masked man.
Shoot, you fool!
Drop those guns.
I'll kill you. Oh, you, my arm.
Jim Calhoun moved fast.
I waited for this.
Knocking aside the gun of the only outlaw who had not been disarmed, his fist landed flush on Pete's chin.
That does it, Jim. Get your hands up, Nixon.
You want more fight?
No, Indian. Don't shoot me again. My arm is hurt already.
Oh, Mr. Calhoun.
Steady, Mrs. Forsyth. These men are on our side.
Jim, there's a gun beside the man you knocked out.
I have it.
Tonto, will you get Silver and some rope to tie these men?
You get him.
Where did you and that Indian come from?
Across the Badlands, Nixon. We met the other members of your gang. Scar told us your plans, so we waited for you. I lie face down on the ground beside that unconscious man.
Scar's a dirty coward.
You, lie down, too.
My arm. It was creased by your bullet.
We'll dress the wound after your hands are tied.
Lie down.
All right.
Here, rope, Kimasabi.
Thanks. We'll tie these crooks as we did the three others.
Where are the others?
On the ground behind those boulders, Jim.
They have horses?
Yes, Jim, the horses are there, too.
We'll need them to take all the prisoners to the United States Marshal in Laramie.
Laramie. I thought I'd never live to get there.
Jim, I've located the hideout of the Nixon gang. I'll go there and recover as much of the stolen cash as possible. But then I'll camp near Laramie. You know the place, Tonto.
Me know.
Tonto will guide you to the camp after the crooks are jailed.
Steady, Silver. You leaving us?
Yes, I'll have to answer too many questions about my mask if I'm here when the townsmen arrive.
Townsman?
What townsman?
The stagecoach guard and driver are on the way with men from Larksville.
You hear hoofs on the road.
And they'll be here in a few minutes. Easy, steady, big fella. I'll see you soon, Jim.
But,
Right.
mister, wait.
Oh, Silver!
Dear, I wanted to thank him. He saved our lives.
He must have been heaven sent.
Mr. Thomas, you're not the first who said that about the Lone Ranger.
This is a feature of the Lone Ranger Incorporated, created by George W. Trendle, produced by Trendle Campbell Muir Incorporated, directed by Charles D. Livingston, and edited by Fran Stryker. The part of the Lone Ranger is played by Brace Beamer.